All right, good afternoon. That was a really good presentation and you guys are doing a lot of good work. That's really, really good. All right, so I'm John Sadler with Florida Forest Service. Most of you probably have seen me before. And if, like I said, if you're at the spring meeting, you saw this presentation before. I don't have a whole lot of new stuff. We got a lot of stuff in the works, but it's in the works, so. All right, so typical stuff. We do have an awesome year. I'll show you a graph here in a minute. So a really good year for burning. We do have our training sessions are coming up for certified burners. I'll bring that up. Talk about our smoke screening process and the web OBA issues. I know it's a constant battle to get logged into the web OBA or the smoke screen tool. Little brief about our prescribed fire program, and then talk about PM 2.5. Although you already saw most of that, so I'll just blow through that. And then the regular burn review stuff. So, all right, so first off, awesome year for burning. So this is fiscal year. So this is July 1, 23 to June 30, 2024. So we did 2.5 million acres. So give everybody a round. So as you can see, we were in a lull there for a few years, but we bounced back this year. So really good job, everybody, with that. That's good work. So, all right. So this is the list of upcoming courses. The ones that are scratched through are full. The list has been out now for a month or so. So we do have some slots left over in these in Apopka. I'm sorry, not Apopka, but at Corbett down at Palm Beach, at LaBelle and Chipley and Quincy. We got some slots left in those. So if anybody in the Panhandle needs a class, we got a couple of them coming up in February if they want to get certified. All right, so how many folks have been still getting issues with web OBA and smoke screen? Anybody? All right, so it's not going to get fixed, they told me, because we're working on a new system and that's been delayed, who knows how long. But anyway, so the fix is you go up here at the top and where it says HTTPS, you just take out the S and it should work. Right? And if it doesn't work, clear your cache out and try it. And I've also had people tell me that if you use Firefox browser, it works with that. And if you're using Safari on Apple, I think it'll work with it. It's got to do with the security certificate on the website that I don't understand anything about. That's what the S is for, is security. So if you take the S out, it should work. Yeah. And that's for both the web OBA and the smoke screening tool. It's the same issue for both of those. Prescribed fire enhancement. Again, we've had a bunch of money this year, so had like $5 million this year went out to the other agencies. We just got a contract yesterday signed with Northwest Florida Water Management. All the contracts are in place. Next year is probably not going to be as rich as it is this year, so we'll have to see. But this is kind of some stuff I had before. This is last year, and I don't have any new projects for this year because we just got the contracts going. But St. Johns River, they brought in a crew to do some burning. We have bought some equipment. Somebody was asking me about equipment. We didn't buy the machines, but we bought the mulching heads for them. So we're not going to buy you a skid steer, but we'll buy you a mulching head for the skid steer. Oh, I'll have just two. This is Swanee River. They do a lot of roller chopping. I was talking with them this year. They're going to also do some hurricane cleanup because they had a couple of hurricanes come through there this summer. So they're going to use some of their money for that. Yeah. So that's just some of the projects. So now back, so the 2.5, the NACS is Holly was talking about. So they made the change, and so it went from so you got your air quality categories, right? So you get on there and even the Google Maps has the AQI on it, it tells you what your air quality. You can get this information pretty much anywhere now. And so, green is good, yellow is moderate, and orange is unhealthy, and it goes a few colors above that. But But the big change was the cutoff point between the good and the moderate. It used to be 0 to 12 parts per billion or micrograms per cubic meter. Parts per billion, something like anyway. So it was 12 and they knocked it down to 9, which is a pretty significant change. And that's really the only one that affected it was that threshold between the good and the moderate. The other ones stayed the same. And so that is affecting most parts. This is a similar map to what she had pulled up. So these are the actual monitors that are used to determine the daily average or the annual average. And you can't really see it on here, but the one in Pensacola says 9.7. And of course, down in South Florida, they've got a bunch of monitors, and there's one down there that says 9.7. And that's in Broward County. And those are the two counties that she had on her map. And the Broward County sensor is, it's from me to that tree stump away from Interstate 95. And looking back, you can go to Google Earth and do the slide and go back. And there was an excavator set up with a pile of sand right by it for a while. So I'm guessing that might be why it's been so high. But that's a true story. And the one in Pensacola it's right next to an industrial, like an industrial park. So there's a lot of dust and stuff there. So, and these are the preliminary numbers. Talking with Hastings Reed with DEP Air, they did there's different kind of monitors that they use, and some of them were biased high. And so they ran through some corrections, and it looks like we're going to actually be in good shape with the official numbers. So none of our monitors are going to be officially in non-attainment, but those two are going to be pretty close. And really the one in Broward County, I'm not too concerned about that as far as smoke impacts, because we don't usually burn in that part of the world that close to it. Although sometimes when they burn on Okeechobee, it'll put smoke over there. But the one in Pensacola is pretty concerning because we do a lot of burning over there. Just a couple other things, she brought up a bunch of maps. So there's, you can go to airnow.gov and get the official forecast. And we actually we look at the forecast now for air quality. I did this one yesterday. So this would have been the forecast for today, I think. So as you can see, Florida, we're usually in pretty good shape. Now, if there were any orange on this map at all, then we're probably not going to issue burn authorizations in those areas. So keep that in mind. You can look on that. There's another map called the fire and smoke map. And this one, they just updated this one recently. It's a little bit different, but so this one shows, it has a lot of information on it. Let me back up one spot. So you can see the circles on here. Excuse me. So those are official monitors on there. And the color inside the circle is part of the forecast as well. And then going back to the air now fire and smoke map, it's got those same sensors on there. You can see the green circles in Tallahassee and Pensacola. And it's hard to tell, and I try to include it, but if you look up north of Columbus, Georgia, it's right near the top of the map. You can see this map, instead of not just showing the air quality, it also shows heat detection from satellite, and then also smoke that's satellite detected. So you can see up there, right near the middle top of the map, there's a red dot, which is a heat fire, and then you can see the smoke plume coming off of it, and it's actually going right into Montgomery. So that's probably not good for the Montgomery station, but it will pick up smoke. And if you look over in the Mississippi and Louisiana, you can see the satellite detected smoke. So you can go to this map, and it does satellite detection. If you look there on the Apalachicola National Forest, there's an actual little fire icon, and that's a wildfire that's picked up through the National Fire Database. So you can click on those and get information about wildfires. There's a lot of good information on this map. You could use it as a game, see if you can get your fire to show up, maybe see where your smoke plume's going. I don't know, but it's good stuff. But talking about, you were talking about the exceptional events demonstration, and one of the big things, and I've been back and forth with EPA about this. So they did they did an example in California of a prescribed fire that impacted, it impacted a monitor, and they did an exceptional event demonstration, and it was accepted by the EPA. And so they're using that as kind of a template for the whole country, and which is fine. But the big thing that the EPA wants to know, they call it, I think they call it mitigation. So they want to know that you notified the public of potential impact from smoke, and which sounds great. And if you're doing a burn in California where you don't ever do burns, and you're like 100% sure it's going to impact the monitor, you can set up media and tell everybody, hey, we're going to be doing this burn, you know, watch out for smoke. And that's what they did, and everything was okay. And so what they're saying is that if we want to get our exceptional event demonstrations approved, then we have to show that we did that. Like, we have to show that we notified the public of potential impacts. And so my argument is, well, if we thought it was going to impact Tallahassee, we wouldn't have done the burn, right? So the last major exceedance we had in Tallahassee was from a fire on the Apalachicola National Forest. And you look at the weather, and the smoke was going to the north. The fire was southwest of town, pretty good distance, maybe 40, 50 miles. And the smoke was going, the wind was out of the southeast, it was going to the northwest. And then right at sunset, it did like a 90-degree turn and came right into Tallahassee. And it was the overnight, like 1 o'clock in the morning, it popped the thing, and we hadn't exceeded. And, we didn't, when they did that burn, they had no inkling that smoke was going to impact Tallahassee. So my argument with the EPA is, we burn every day during burning season somewhere. So, being able to say that we warn the public, I'm not sure. Because if we tell them every day, hey, we're burning, watch out for smoke, and we don't impact them, then it's going to become a it's like calling a wolf. And another thing, we did 2.5 million acres last year, and most people in Florida don't even know we burn. So if we start advertising all the time, then like, well, why are you guys killing all the animals? So anyway, so I got an issue with their requirement for that. They say that a prescribed burn is an exceptional event. It's an event that you can exclude from your averages. So, why can't we just prove that it was smoke that caused it, and then that would be good enough? Why do we have to say that we tried to warn them? Because my argument is, if we knew we were going to impact that area, we wouldn't have done the burn. But anyway, sorry.
I'm following you, John. Makes sense to me.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so the burn review, I'm really flying through this stuff. All right, so everybody got their status letter, right? And I really encourage people to go in. I'm sure most of you in here probably already have, but to get the email in there, because we are eventually going over to a new system, and everybody's going to have an email in there anyway. Again, make sure your contact information is current. That's how you get your notices. And when you're doing the burn, you need to let us know that it's sort of, oh wait, I'm sorry, I want to go back to the smoke. There's a point that you made, Holly, that I'm pretty sure we're in a trade deficit with Georgia when it comes to smoke, because we get a lot more smoke from them than we send up their way. I just want to let you know that. But the good news is, if we do get smoke from Georgia, and that's what sets off the monitor at TCC, I'm sorry, at Florida State College, then we don't have to do the mitigation part, because that wasn't our burn. So it's like the Canadian wildfire smoke, right? We didn't know it was coming because it wasn't ours. So it'd be easier for us to do a demonstration if the smoke comes out of Georgia than if it comes out of Florida. So. But on that, so and we had talked about all kind of ways we could do this. So we talked about maybe requiring everybody that burns over 1,000 acres to do some kind of a press release. And I know the Forest Service does, if they're burning near the airport or near town, it's usually on the news that they're going to be burning. But I don't know, we're trying to figure out what to do with that, so. Okay. So back to the letters, keep your stuff up to date. If you log into WebOBA, You can put your email in and update your mailing address if you need to. Does everybody in here use Web OBA? Raise your hand. Okay. Now that you know how to log back in, you can use it. I mean, it is really it helps save phone calls, make sure that everything's accurate, you know, because you as the burner put the dot on the map. And you can also check your status. It's right there at the top. It'll tell you you're good through years on your education and your burning. And again, you can update your contact information. I was talking with somebody earlier. They were talking about keeping that track of their burn history. So if you use the burn participation log and fill out all the columns, the left one is the date of burn, authorization number, name of the certified burner. You know, that really just makes it easier for me to make sure you get credit for the burns. And you don't have to turn one in every time you do a burn. And you don't have to turn one in every year. You know, just when you get the yellow letter from me saying that you need to do your burns. So it is a manual process to enter that stuff in. Again, some things to remember, and I say this every time, but it's important. That's why I say it every time. You know, there was some talk today about prescription parameters, you know, with my humidity, you know, jiving with the prescription or with the forecast, and now these new forecasts, I'm not even sure what that's going to look like. It's kind of scary actually to think about some of that stuff. Like, well, there was a 1 in 10% chance of so we'll have to see how that goes. But make sure the information is complete, it's correct, and it makes sense, you know, for what you're doing. Make sure you sign it, take it with you to the burn, and again, tell us that you're doing certified burn, so we'll mark it in our system. And again, we're all in this together, right? You know, we all want to be able to burn, and the better we do it, the less smoke we put on the roads, the less smoke we put into town, you know, the longer we'll be able to continue to use fire as a tool. So these are some upcoming events. South Florida Prescribed Fire Council meeting is in Okeechobee, the town of Okeechobee, on October 29th. Central Florida Council meeting, which I think some of you might have signed up for because the email that somebody sent out earlier had the link to it, and they thought that was a link to this class, so they signed up for the Central Florida meeting. Whoops. Yeah, that's okay. Prescribed Fire Awareness Week is the 4th Sunday in January each year, so next year it starts on the 26th, and then Flatwoods Fire Nature Festival in Gainesville will be on the last Saturday or the Saturday of Prescribed Fire Awareness Week. So I encourage everybody to go to that. You know, we had the Red Hills Fire Festival this year, and we alternate. So they're doing the one in Gainesville in February.
2025.
It should be, yeah. Thank you. And then, so that's all I got in this.